Why is it, or why or how is it that black people can always make a joke about everything that goes on in life, like no matter how good or bad is it? Like, is it literally just a coping mechanism for us?
I'd say so. I'd say so. What do you think?
I was gonna say what? That it's a coping.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah. Like for example, someone could drop down their hair and now, and although we're feeling pain, somehow a joke can be made of it.
I think it's a healing because I don't think we would be here if we couldn't love. I think half of us would have jumped off the bridge and another half of us would have buckled in the mind if we didn't have. You know, sometimes I look at people and I see them laughing or smiling and I think, why is your body doing that? That's such a weird thing. You're showing your teeth. You're showing your teeth and going, ha, ha, and letting air out. Why? What kind of reaction? But for some reason, that is a healing process for us. And I do think as black people, African people, I can't speak for anyone else, but I think for us, everything's a group experience with us. No one, even if you're up dancing by yourself, you know you're the first one on the dance floor, everybody's coming. Give them a chance, they're just shy. But we dance together, one people. When we listen to music, it's not one man singing a song. He's singing a song, we're all living it. And we're all singing with him, do you see what I'm saying? And I think that's the same thing that happens with laughter. But guess what? If the people that don't have love in their heart for us have any control over our entertainment industries, they're gonna teach us, no, when you wanna dance, this is how you wanna do it. Yeah, take your clothes off, this, shake your booty like this, yeah? Okay, cool. They're gonna tell you, no, if you're gonna tell jokes, crack these jokes. Ha ha ha, laugh at yourself and whatever. And some of us will hide behind taking the piss out of ourselves, but they're laughing about it, but inside they're probably crying, saying, we are pathetic.
And they're also telling you though, but
same thing with the music. The music's been poisoned.
They're also telling you what's acceptable.
But I also think it's all circumstantial because going back to it being a healing, laughing is also an emotion. Do you understand? An emotion has to move through you, regardless of what it is. So even I was speaking to someone this week and it was a health situation. At that moment, they couldn't laugh about it, but high inside they can. It's a moment, and I definitely think the laughing part depends on the circumstance because pain can be so crippling that it will literally shut down your body. Do you know what I mean? So sometimes that laughing, I love that you used healing, it's an emotion and it has to push through your body because if you don't release it in some way, it can manifest in a different way. Do you know what I mean? But if we're talking about when it comes down to the system, they need us to laugh because we've burned the whole thing down. If we were just stuck in the pain emotion, we wouldn't have got. Yeah, we'd be in a different place.
Which makes me ask: is it programming? Because when you said that you see them laugh and stuff, and you're like, "What's going on here?" Have you been programmed to not want to burn this entire thing down? Because when you think about it, when we rise, we get killed off, and that kind of like puts us in our place and says, if you even think of rising up, this is what's gonna happen. So you better sit back and find another way to deal with this. Laugh it off.
Even if it's programming or is, however, I don't think they would have planned it. Maybe that's us taking control of what they planned at the same time. So it could be, laugh to a degree, because remember, we've always been the ones laughed at. Yeah, because we were their circus act. So they've always been the one chuckling. But our chuckle and our laugh is different to theirs. And the reason why I say that is like, you know, like you've got people that you can say, oh, bro, you're actually cynical. Like you're laughing at things that are not funny. Like you've got, like, let's look at it simply. We've got black humour and black entertainment, black comedy, and then you got what's his name, McIntyre. And then we might sit there as a bunch of black people like, this shit ain't funny. He might say one or two things, you're like, ha. Then you got someone like Bernie Mac, belly rolls. Belly rolls, but then belly rolls means you genuinely feel something in there, yeah? So when he might be talking about, oh, the licks you got as a kid, and you're like, I can relate, ha, because I made it through that shit. As well. Yeah? And even though they might be American and we're thinking, oh, we're British or this, you know what though? That shit happened to me. If it didn't happen to me, it happened to my cousin. And it's relatable. That, as you said, laughs, but those things, as you said, like I know, for example, if I get mad, I start laughing. and it's a thing that I always can't control, and I'm just like, oh shit, here we go, in my head. But it's like, sometimes I need to laugh because that might be the saving grace that calms me down when I need to. And it's like, if I start laughing a certain way, I know it's a wrap for me, because I know now I've got myself into a certain space, right? So like you said, if we don't laugh, we'll burn the whole place down, yeah? But imagine now, if we're all doing that same little hyena, like cynical laugh, like together, and we're looking at each other like, it can still get burnt the fuck down. We're just laughing before we do it. That's where, you see where it might be them thinking, don't do it. But if we all had that same laugh and there was enough of us together, we will burn shit down.
Yeah, but we don't.
But this is what I'm saying. So that's where it becomes a case of the differentiation of the kind of, is it are we laughing to heal or are we laughing to release?
Because you keep inviting white people to the cookout, fam. It just takes one white person in a room when we're trying to have an honest conversation, and we all start getting on the All Lives Matter bandwagon and not actually talking about our problems.
And it goes back to my question towards you, or not, or like, you know, when I made that statement about why do you have to like look out for their feelings when you're saying something that isn't offensive. It's true to you. It's what we need. It's actually really what can help us. But yet we have to be somewhat mindful of them because we're the most empathetic people on earth.
I don't think that.
Go.
It's because we're slaves still, fam. To be honest with you. And I think we're doing what's safe. Some of us harbour some serious. Bro, everyone's got that telephone. Oh, hi, hello. On the there's a reason that we've got this whole poltergeist living inside of us. Because that's the ghost that we show when we walk the streets and whatever, and we do our best to chuck that ghost in the cupboard when we get in the yard and fling on a little Bob Marley or something, and cook down some proper food. Because that poltergeist, it's because that's the truth. That poltergeist is what we pretend is our reality when we walk through work.
What you're saying is so real, because when I can come on here and say certain things, this is still the slave.
I'm asking you something.
This is still the slave, like
rebellious slave.
Like, right.
But do you expect to die of old age? Real talk. How do you talk?
I don't.
Okay. But then that's my point. If anyone else is thinking about licking 70,
they're
not going to talk like you, bro.
This is what I said to him. I feel like, as a people, as alive as we are, we're dead people walking.
Yeah.
So I see it as right. I see it as this is the only opportunity to say, yo, this is what we're in. This is what we're in. Like, you think you're alive, but right now, due to fucking COVID, they're telling you you're not alive. And you ain't got that long left. You get what I mean?
That's why people like yourself, I wouldn't say all of us, but more so yourself, people like you that are willing to go out on a limb and just, I can't say that we're not trying, like, I suppose, I don't know if I say trying, but being authentically ourselves in being able to just be outright, this is what it is, say it as it is, and not have anything to hold back. You will have to be putting things in place for the next generation, because really and truly, you know in yourself, at some point, the further you get up that ladder and the more you stay the same, someone is going to try to take you down. So you know what, when you get to a certain stage, you have to pass that shit on. Because if you don't pass that baton on, that baton is going to drop. Then, like you said, we get to a point of building, then we've got to start again. The question is, who's going to be brave enough to take that first step? And we might say, oh, but if everyone does it together, yeah, but if everyone doesn't do it together, then no one will do it. Yeah, so it is a thing where we can say, people can say to us all day long, oh, I love that 6 months, love what you do, yeah, rep it. But what do they do to bring it any closer to where it should be in terms of, not even, it could just be simple things like sharing the videos. It could be talking about it, but they might agree with us and come and say to us, I agree with you 100, put a little comment here but doesn't say too much. But will they really carry that outside? Because like you said, to a degree, we're all wearing that suit because it's like, oh shit, I hate you. Like, I could be sitting on here thinking, shit, am I going to lose my job?
That's
coming, no, that's coming, you know that.
They don't care.
But at the same time, I know that a lot of the people from my job see these. But the difference is, if they came and sat me down and said, look, Tay, let's have a talk about like something that was on your show, I will happily sit down and say,
oh. You said that, right? And you said, like, so like, You see me, yeah, and I've tried to make. No, I haven't. But there's certain people that I will speak to that understand. So I've told him, right. When we all speak, it's information. It's information. So the information that I carry has come from somewhere, right? And looking at the history, the information is true then and now for us, for us who can see. All we're doing is passing on the information. It's just that the majority of us are petrified to pass the information on, the ones that know even, right? So it's like, when someone sees this, obviously, they're like, he said that. It's not me. It's not me.
Just a message.
I'm just the bearer of great news. You'd say bad news, but it's great news, because the reality is, wake up and know this is what it is.
But if you're informed, then this information you're imparting information. Somebody's informed. If you've been informed of how to do the Green Cross Code, shouldn't you cross the road with more caution and knowledge? That's the worry. The worry is, if you start teaching people what that cross is in your hand, why is that not the Jesus Christ cross? What's this other business? If you inform them of that and they got that information, they're going to be rebels now. Now they've got to do things differently.
That's when you have the people that will say, but how do I know I'm not being missing?
Now they have to question who they are.
Exactly.
Or who they think they are.
Exactly.
And then they've got to go back to the drawing board and say, my whole life was a lie.
Yeah.
And then,
What the fuck?
Exactly.
I want to do
Again.
I'm 30 years
We're used to doing
this.
this.
I'm 40 years in.
But then on the flip side, what we, if anything, isn't information that we've accumulated ourselves to pass on, and it's our opinions. Everyone is entitled to that, for one. A lot of our opinions are also based off our own understanding, our own experiences. No one can take that from you. No one can come and tell me, well, T, you're wrong. Were you there?
And even
Are
the
you
whole
me?
our opinion thing don't even make sense, because
say,
really it's
some of
not
the
our
opinions is not even
opinions.
Right.
It goes way too far back for it to be our
But I'm
opinion.
talking about just
It's
on
knowledge.
a generic level. If I've experienced something with somebody, like you said, I might say I have an opinion of that person. Can't tell me I'm wrong.
And even when we're speaking how we're speaking, as you said, or was it you? Either or. You actually don't know what I actually think. Because, as we said, how I think, you would think that I couldn't function in society.
You shouldn't be able to.
I shouldn't
half
be
the
able
time.
to function. So the reality is, you can never actually say, yo, this is how he thinks. No, because if I truly was to think how I think, I wouldn't be able to function. No, if I was to think how you thought I thought, then I wouldn't be able to function in society. But that's where you're wrong,
And
and
that's
that's
what our
why
saving
it's
grace
not
is.
my opinion.
It's
That's
your
the saving
opinion.
grace.
That's the saving
You know,
grace.
because the main thing about all of this is that ultimately, the way we do it, it leaves a question for them to discover
Always.
about themselves.
And don't be lazy enough to not do that, because you have to do that.
It's all it's doing is saying,
Well,
hey,
basically,
there's a new piece of information, you might not have been aware of it. It's down to you whether you want to discover it, so you can get some new learnings. You give yourself to self with a bit of freedom mentally, because physically we're not free, but here you can have a sense of freedom, and then it starts to make sense when the agents come. You're like, oh, okay, hello, agent, and you know how to do it. Well, that's all it is. And then once you have that, the only problem right now is collectively we are not strong enough, and so we need to collectively build. But what happens is they, like they do in the house, they have you fighting. They will put in things. It's very clever, and they don't even need to physically put in. They will just put in a news piece, a something subtle, and then they will just watch you. Oh, that triggered them. You know how to get that.
But then going
They
back.
even throw things like Caribbean versus African.
Yeah.
No, the new one. ADOS versus Black British people. Why do y'all British people care about us so